about to give them what they want.
Go Beastmode, dude.
I don't think they're ready for this, though. Beast mode, beast mode, beast mode, beast mode, beast mode, beast mode, beast mode.
What's good, YouTube? You know who it is. Chris Jones, representing Pump Chasers, and you already know. You head on down to TigerFitness.com and get your Pump Chaser subs, alright? You already know. If you cutting down, doing that fasted cardio, you already know. Get your cuts up to yes. Fuck with the best, alright? Alright, so let's get straight to the video. Y'all see the title. We're gonna talk a little bit about Mike Mentzer. Now, people ask me all the time my thoughts on Mike Mentzer's training philosophy. Now, I'm hoping if you clicked on this video, you're already familiar with who Mike Mentzer is. You're already familiar with his heavy-duty training philosophy. I'm hoping if you click this video, you're already aware of that, because I'm not gonna go into depth on that. But long story short, there's a man from the golden era of bodybuilding named Mike Mentzer. Okay, I believe he retired after the 1980 Olympia when Arnold had that controversial 7th Olympia win. That's a whole other story. I believe he retired around that time. So he comes from that era. Okay? Now, long story short about Mike Mentzer, he was actually a medical student. He didn't finish, but he was a medical student.
Mike, I understand you're a medical student. Does this help and assist in the development and the understanding of the muscles?
Well, certainly a bodybuilder has to have a knowledge of all the muscles, but that's not why I chose medicine, no.
Did you get into the body development aspects of it because of medicine or vice versa?
Well, I got into bodybuilding, and that led to, of course, an intense interest in the body, and it developed, of course, into my present status as a student in medicine.
He was very articulate. And he took that same mind to bodybuilding. You know, he was coaching, he wrote articles for magazines. Okay, so he was an ex-bodybuilder, medical student, you know, respected by many and hated by many. Kind of reminds me of, you know, how we have the science community today. You know, some people like Jeff Nippert, some people don't. Just like we have a science community today. Some people like Lane Norton, some people don't. So similar shit, that's what Mike Mentzer was. Some people liked him, some people didn't. He was really into the science. Now, he had this training philosophy. He actually adopted it from Arthur Jones. But he took this training philosophy, the heavy duty training philosophy. Long story short, you know how we have 3 or 4 working sets per exercise? Sometimes even 5. He believed you only truly need 1 set to failure to spark growth. Because growing muscle is not necessarily an energy thing. It's not about the calories. What it is, you're sparking growth. You're signaling growth. You're stimulating growth. So it's a signaling thing. It's not about, you know, doing a whole bunch of sets. Do just enough to stimulate the growth and move on. He believed it only took 1 working set to failure per exercise. Now, it doesn't mean, for an example, you just go to the gym and let's say you do 3 plates, right? You just put 3 plates on the bar and go. No, you do a set with a plate, right? You don't go to failure. Let's say you can get 20 reps. You maybe do like 8. Then you do 225. Let's say you can get 15 reps for 225. You only do about 8 to 10. You leave a lot of reps in the tank. Just enough to feel it, just enough to get a pump going. But then when you put that 3 wheels on, you don't do 3 working sets of that. You do 1 true set to failure. That's an example. And if you want to see that shit in motion, you want to see the energy in motion, I highly recommend you go watch some of Dorian Yates' old videos. They're called Blood and Guts. It's in black and white. You'll kind of get a gist of how this shit goes. Because people think 1 working set just means you go to the gym, put the weight on. No, you can get hurt like that. You do enough to get a pump. You do enough to connect with your body. Okay? So he had this training philosophy called the heavy duty training philosophy. And that clearly goes against people like Joe Weider. Right? Joe Weider preached volume. He had the Weider principles. He had the supplements. Some things Mike Mentzer would say would clearly go against what the magazines were saying. Hence the reason why so many people didn't like him. So the purpose of this video is not to pretty much say it doesn't work. I truly believe this can work. I'm going to explain to you why I don't like it. Okay? Let's start with Mike Mentzer. First off, Mike Mentzer didn't start training this way from the gate. You know, he pretty much trained like everybody else with volume. He didn't adopt this philosophy till later. You got to understand, in order to really take a set to complete failure like that, you got to have top-notch mind-muscle connection. If you watch my video, my issue with science-based lifters, we talked briefly about the science of the mind-muscle connection. You have biomechanics, which is human anatomy, and the laws of physics working together. And then you have the neuromechanics. Neuromechanics and biomechanics working together in perfect harmony, your mind and body working together in perfect harmony, that's neuromechanical matching. That shit takes a lot of practice. That shit takes a lot of repetition. The law of repetition is universal. You got to constantly carve those neural patterns over and over and over again to get them perfect. So somebody who's new to the gym or somebody who's just a recreational lifter, they're not going to have the mind-muscle connection of an IFBB pro. You feel me? So I feel like, yes, what he said can work, but also I feel like when people reach a certain level financially, I notice sometimes they give advice to the masses, and I'm like, damn, they're losing touch with the everyday person. The everyday person doesn't have your budget. And that's similar to how I've noticed when professional bodybuilders or so-called experts give advice to the masses. You don't realize everybody doesn't have your level of passion. Everybody doesn't have your level of discipline. Everybody doesn't have your level of mind-muscle connection. And you got to think about that when you tell people to do one set to all-out failure. You got to have great neuromechanical matching, because when you're going to all-out failure, you have to fight through that pain. See, hitting the reps is all fine. But once you start getting tired, now you gotta breathe deeper to keep that oxygen flowing in. And now you're feeling pain. Your form starts to get fuzzy. Your inner vision starts to get fuzzy. You gotta stay toned in and keep that form crispy. Or not, you can get hurt. That's how the joint pain happens. The joint pain happens when you're doing a whole bunch of shaking when you should be pressing up and down. You know, when you're doing a whole bunch of lateral shaking on your squats. You know, a whole bunch of shaking, not staying stable because you're tired and exhausted. Doing that shit for years, you're going to have joint pain. You're going to have stiffness because your neuromechanical matching is not crispy. So telling people to go to all-out failure without even mastering their neuromechanical matching, without even mastering their form, which can take years, in my opinion, is irresponsible. So that's one issue I have with Mike Mentzer telling people to do that. You know, not everybody has your mind-muscle connection. That takes, it's almost like a black belt in karate or some shit. You're like, these people gotta at least reach brown belt, at least, because that form is very important. Okay? Another issue I have, again, facts are not attacks. We're not judging here, we're just spitting facts. Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect my damn self. We're just spitting facts here. And fact of the matter is, it's public knowledge that Mike Mentzer was into methamphetamines. Now, some people are gonna say, what's the big deal? That's a huge deal, because again, when you're pushing well past your pain barrier. See, the only way this shit really works, this one all-out set the failure shit works, is you gotta push past your mental pain barriers. When you're hyped up on these drugs, especially drugs like methamphetamines. Y'all saw the Scarface movie at the end when he was getting shot, taking them bullets. A lot of that was because of adrenaline. And let's be real, he was on cocaine. Again, being on drugs can alter your state of consciousness and increase pain tolerance. So not only is he on steroids, not only does he have drugs to help him get past a pain tolerance that he probably wouldn't be able to reach naturally, he has a really good mind-muscle connection because he's a pro bodybuilder. That's 3 things, fam. So yes, although the heavy-duty thing can work, although the heavy-duty training style can work, it's definitely not for the masses. It's only going to be for a very small percentage of people, for a very small percent. And that's just backed by the numbers. I haven't even given my personal opinion yet. That's just backed by the numbers. I'm probably not even going to give my personal opinion. I'm just going to stick to the numbers on this one because we're talking about legends. And people get very sensitive when you talk about their legends. Remember, idol worship is a very real thing. Idol worship occurs when you're so blinded you can't even see the facts. And I want you to hear my facts loud and clear. We're just going to stick to the facts. And facts are not attacks. I don't want to offend anybody's heroes here. So Mike Mentzer, again, he has a high level of neuromechanical matching, very high mind-muscle connection. 2, he has a very high pain tolerance due to the stimulants he's using, methamphetamine to be exact. And 3, hopped up on a bunch of steroids. You get really fast results when your hormones, right? Remember, this is hormonal. Those steroids give you a hormonal advantage. That's a fucking cheat code. 3 things. Again, this shit can work because we know based off science alone, growing muscle is a stimulus thing. You stimulate growth. Okay, so getting to failure or close to it will stimulate and spark growth. Now, some people are going to say, it worked for Dorian Yates. It worked for Dorian Yates. See, ironically, this proves my point. This is only for a very small percentile of people. Let's start with Dorian Yates. Dorian Yates wasn't training like this. Dorian Yates, he was already advanced. And he was reaching a sticking point. He wasn't seeing improvements. He reached out to Mike Mentzer. See the photo right here? Reached out to Mike Mentzer. And next thing you know, the rest is history. He adopted the heavy-duty philosophy and started seeing progress. Notice, he already had a great mind-muscle connection. Remember, neuromechanical matching, that's huge. So many people overlook the power of visualization and the power of the mind. 2, Dorian Yates was a troubled youth. He actually spent time at a detention facility as a youth, okay? So, troubled youth, you gotta understand, remember, people that battle demons, people that have anger issues, a lot of them have a very high pain tolerance. A lot of them have a very high pain tolerance. Just look at people like Jon Jones. We're not going to dig too deep in that, but if anybody knows about the things Jon Jones has dealt with outside of the ring, you'll know that man has battled demons and probably still do. A lot of people that are great champions, a lot of people with a very high pain tolerance tend to battle demons behind closed doors. So Dorian Yates not only had high-level neuromechanical matching, the man was a troubled youth. You don't know what kind of demons he's battling. And before people say, Chris, you're just speculating, look at this right here. This is from Dorian Yates' page, okay? It's from June 6, 2023. Now, I'm not going to read you the whole thing in the caption. I'll just put it on the screen for you. If you want to read all that, go ahead. But I want to read you some lines right here. It's the very last paragraph, okay? It says, you put an unusual level of stress to get a reaction from your muscular system. So if the set is intense enough, it will trigger that stimulus. I commented that day. I said, you have to be a little insane to train this way for years. Notice his nickname is the Shadow. I bet he had to do a lot of shadow work to reach his current stage of enlightenment. And Dorian Yates says, no shit, praying hands. He knows what's up. Dorian knows what's up. Remember, fam, bodybuilding is backed by all universal laws and principles. It's literally a spiritual path. Notice his nickname is the Shadow, and he's clearly been doing shadow work. Look at him in a meditative state. Dorian Yates been on his hippie shit lately. A lot of people that have a lot of darkness within, they tend to come to the light. They tend to get enlightened whenever it's their time to get that inner peace. You know, that's a whole other story for a whole other time. But the point I'm trying to make is, like I said, people with a little bit of darkness, people might be a little quote unquote crazy. Those tend to be the people with a high pain tolerance. So not only did Dorian Yates have the neuromechanical matching, he had a high pain tolerance. And then some people are gonna say, that don't prove he's crazy. That don't prove he's crazy, Chris Jones. Look at this clip right here. Look at this clip right here.
The first exercise, we're going to do 3 sets. A light set to get the movement, get the blood in there. A medium set to further get the body and the mind ready. And then the last set is...
As you see, Dorian says, you know, first set. Then he says, second set. Guess what he says for the third set? Listen right here. Listen.
And then the last set is going to be like somebody's got a gun to your little baby's head and he's going to pull the trigger unless you fucking give 100%. It's life and death. 1 set. Then we move on to another exercise.
He didn't say, pretend like you get $1 million. Pretend like you get $1 million if you get this set. He said, pretend like someone has a gun to your child's head. That's crazy talk. Again, people with darkness within them tend to have the highest pain tolerance. We all have a little bit of darkness within us, but some people got a little more than others. And if you can tame that shit, if you can tame it and actually use it for something productive, woo! If you can tame it and use it for something productive, you can create miracles in your own reality. You can literally have the world in your hands. So not only did Dorian have a high pain tolerance, partly due to a lot of darkness within him, he also had great mind-muscle connection. He talks about the mind-muscle connection quite a bit. If you go to his page, you scroll down, talks about the mind-muscle connection quite a bit. And again, steroids. So once again, fam, I'm not saying the heavy-duty training style doesn't work. I'm just saying it can work. This is for people who want to compete. I'm not talking about the average Joe. I'm talking about if you want to do the heavy-duty training style and win shows, whether it be natural or unnatural, you're going to have to be in a very small percentile of people. If you want to have a fighting chance, you better have A1 neuromechanical matching. Notice Dorian Yates tore his bicep, tore his tricep, documented, facts not attacks. He's the expert. So just keep that in mind. Even the poster boy, the Olympia, legend, he's even torn some muscles training this way. I don't care. It was doing prep. I don't care about none of that shit. It still happened. It happened while you were doing this training style. I don't care about the other little bullshit. Wanna know why I don't care about the other shit? Because other competitors showed up conditioned with no injuries. There's obviously some flaws in the programming, period. Again, I believe volume training is king. It's more enjoyable, for one. I can only imagine training that. I could probably train that way for like 3 months straight, right? But train that way year after year, I'll be fucking terrified to go to the fucking gym, okay? I like volume training. I want to make the sweetest fucking love. I want to make the fucking sweetest love to these weights. Take my sets close to failure from time to time. Maybe go to failure and beyond. But, you know, get within that range. Because we know science. Science says close to failure is enough to spark growth. But, you know, from time to time, go to failure and beyond. Have fun with this shit. Dorian Yates don't even train this way no more. Just think about it like that. Dorian Yates don't even train this way no more. Arnold's still doing a high volume. Of course, he's doing machines. You feel me? Doing the machines and shit like that. He ain't trained like he used to when he was young. But you can do volume training even when you're old. We still see Robbie Robinson in the gym. You know, Frank Zane, I saw an interview, he still trains. Obviously, not like he used to when he was younger, but the point I'm trying to make is volume training style, using good form, good technique, you can train this way for a very long time. Well, anyway, guys, that's my take on the whole Mike Mentzer heavy duty training style. Be sure to comment below, let me know what you think. If you would like a high volume program, be sure to go to beastmode316.com. I have programs ready to download, and they come with tutorial videos. Right now, I'm on the Bro Split right now. Been on the Bro Split for a while. Also, I have online coaching, and I have live video consultations. Anybody interested, head on down to my site. Right now, the consultations are just for my VIP clients. But pretty soon, I'll offer them to the public. But as of right now, my video calls are just for my VIP clients. But like I said, pretty soon, I'll be offering to the public, okay? Thank you guys for your support. Don't forget to like my shit, comment, subscribe, holler back at your boy. We need a moment of silence before we fuck up these weights.